here, including myself, are a mentor to a number of organizations and the sector in general. So it's something that has to be highlighted in terms of this institution. Quite importantly, what is to be highlighted in this 5th of July is the fact that media, Ekuphumuleni Old Age Home in South Africa, in Eastern Cape, rather, it being identified as an institution to celebrate 10 years anniversary with EFF. So that is a highlight. By the way, CIC is the EFF is the only party in the 39 years. I didn't say 5 years. In the 39 years that have made this gesture is a historical gesture from a political party. What are the threats and challenges of this organization? With whatever else I have just painted, glossy picture somewhat. The challenge, number one, still is we are funded, I said, by the Eastern Cape Department of Social Development. However, is that subsidy that gets to be transferred to the institution delivered timely? And I say, no. That is a challenge that is perpetual. What are the implications of that? The implications are your staff are not remunerated, isn't it? Because subsidy April, May, June, that's for sure. You'll probably get it July onwards. So, we're living in a contemporary society that you have people unionized. So those beautiful ladies and gentlemen on my right, President, that shows commitment. Policies, you default, and that is not, or rather the management is not immune to that defaulting. I'm talking myself included. So it has serious implications in your personal life, in your relationship, and everything that needs money. The second challenge is the discrimination that we still experience, and I must emphasize, Vienna, as people who are in the provincial government, and whoever else from yourself who's in the provincial government. I led a protest effort somewhere in 2017 around the discrimination in funding. Specifically, we have an experience here of a live acid components that are here in Gqeberha, Algoa Frail Center, and Lorraine Frail Center. I know for a fact we have not overcome that as a provincial legislature or provincial government. Anyway, those persons who are from an affluent, formally advantaged community are getting 18,000, comparatively speaking to 2,000 we're getting. And that has not been sorted by the Eastern Cape government. It's an indictment. So it's still there. As a provincial leader, the chairperson of anything called NGO in the Eastern Cape, I know in the last meeting we had on the 23rd of May, we spoke about the subject matter, and it has not been attended into. I even read the parliamentary minutes of the Bisho legislature. I pick up the Office of the Premier, Department of Health and Social Development are still in the process of sorting this matter. It was in 2017 when I led a march around the subject. You need to attend to that. The other challenge that we have is a 2 million debt that we owe this Nelson Mandela municipality. And I must say, whatever will be the outcome, but the mere appetite shown by the leadership of EFF to attend to that matter is something to be welcomed. Masikwabela. It's a concern because you have one stove, institution like this one, that has an appliance as a stove senior, can owe government or the local state 2 million. Common sense. It can't be. So something is wrong in terms of that. The president would be able to see the establishment and kind of validate the facts I'm putting on the table. The challenge of IGR, intergovernmental, interdepartmental, indeed is a problem. The whole of caring for an elderly cannot be departmentalized into social development. Because these people bayagula, naturally health has a role to play in the form of a medication, and so on, and so on, and so on. They're not there. And naturally, even if you make a noise around the underfunding by Department of Social Development, but it must be said that there is a sense in the fact that they cannot be expected to be the only department that contributes in the whole of caring for the elderly. So it's a problem. Naturally, the lack of critical staff, because in the crude way of compliance, you can't have a professional nurse only. You should have an enrolled nurse, because protocol says, I instruct this one to dispense medication, which will be your enrolled nurse from a professional nurse. So that is a problem. Now, I said I will make amazombulelo and make my concluding remarks, as I am somewhat being opportunistic. Mandiqale ngobulela ke, as I have already said, that this is historic, because no political party ever thought of doing what the economic freedom fighters have done. In case I must tell you what they have done. I'm reluctant to speak to the alternative facility installed for reasons of crime. But there is an alternative facility to complement, or rather to come in the event that ESCOM have done their nonsense, so that lights can be on, so that elderly can be able to get their food, and so that they are cooked and prepared. Allow me, President, not to specify it. It's an alternative facility that has been installed. Somebody from your leadership mistakenly dropped the check sheet, and I picked it up, that the money invested there is plus minus 150. Masikwabela. In that facility that has been installed. Naturally, there is work, that has been done in our plumbing outfit, because the structure, I forgot that, it being a singles-man quarter puts in challenge, because yayekhelwe amadoda. Yazi into okwenza? Yayakhelwe isinkomponi, not fit for the actual purpose per se. So it creates a lot of maintenance cost problems. So yes, that maintenance work have come in handy to ensure that the plumbing, the geysers, and so on are taken care of. The painting to beautify the facility becomes one of the critical contributions that have been made. I suppose there is a handing over to be done at an appropriate time, which those items, I was not privy to see what is there, but whatever TG it is, now you add on to what EFF has contributed to yourselves. Gqeberha. Being a Marxist, having picked up this mistakenly dropped check sheet, I saw providers to be checked. No, they have not been paid. No, this one has been paid. And silently I was saying, why banga painting ngokwabo? Why do we have to employ someone? Ungathatha ama forces lawakho and then do it as if they knew what they had me saying so. So the ground forces, I saw them painting rather, as from preparing for this work, which was a good thing. I was good around a saying that says, "Ngobankulu possess no color, no creed." Naba bamnyama ngabona bakhohlakeleyo. So, we must avoid to build a mentality that is self-serving. Because tomorrow, what you aspire to have, socialist society, won't flourish. Because you have managed indirectly built usatana. And the enablers to socialism was frustrated. Uzenze zangabantu abamnyama. Hence I'm saying, Ubungqowankulu possess no color, no creed. So as we do these things, we must have that sense of social responsibility. And so on, and so on. Banbazenzele and benefit as that community of those workers who have painted the institution. Not 1% benefit, irregardless of a color or race. So, imela ke ukubulelwa londo, and not only that, how the comrades CIC have conducted themselves. I'm a very sensitive person in terms of interacting with staff, Bandabakhulu, and all of us as management. You have shown empathy and a sense of unfaked commitment as you are interfacing in preparing for these programs. More so that most of the time, due to ill health, I'm not around. My staff consistently give me reports and say they were here. You know, it's something that has to be celebrated because we're doing it ngalemini, and it has to be said and said it as is. So thank you for that. Ndo yembeko, your empathy, you know, sense of person-to-person interface is critical, so that you don't show a face, yet you're coming up with a gesture. Can't be. Yeah, it means you're coerced to do it. You're not doing it out of the goodwill and the good heart. Allow me, therefore, to be opportunistic and, as I said, and make this remark. As Werner and your team that is in the province makes this follow-up that I'm demanding on behalf of this collective, be aware that those of us who are not in active politics, but you can't take politics out of me anyway. The issue I raised around this discrimination in funding, which is an indictment, say post-1994, you have that situation, reinforces what my observation and my talks elsewhere when I'm called to do a talk speaks to. That transformation is not normalization. You're not hearing me. Transformation is not normalization. You don't normalize what you meant to transform. That's the challenge that you have. The second challenge that you have is class-based. It's class-based. That's the core problem that you have. But it keeps on being postponed to an extent of neutralizing those that's supposed to advance the class argument, derailing all of them. Those that have embraced a philosophy and an ideology of Leninism and Marxism, those that have embraced in their mind a system that would culminate into communism. It's meant to do that. So, and as such, we can't differentiate on those that are in the sittings of power. I know like myself will say or will understand that no, EFF is not in government, but EFF is in parliament. But to us, you are all in government. That's how we see you. And you can't then expect us to, or rather, we are not unjust to demand certain things to yourselves, irregardless which party are you, because we see government. I may as well add, the yardstick to test whether or not we can be led by young people, a candidate organization for that is what? Is EFF. Because EFF is dominantly young. So you have a big task upon your shoulders. But that's how we will test this continuous saying that says South Africa is now young. Young people want this. But can they lead? Well, fine. But which party can we test their leadership capabilities? It's naturally going to be that which is made of young people. Again, I'm a civil society activist. I call myself social activist. A political society is looked at ngokulinganayo, sense of incumbents. Ngokulinganayo because xa sithukisa ku-12 down, President Malema, we say, these politicians, we're not saying ANC politicians, these politicians, we don't trust them. So the case of one party or entity rubs to all parties. So you're not spared on how we perceive you. Because you all what? Politicians. And when we heart fall, we deal with you. I lead those processes because I'm a leader of civil society. And in Tukisa Gule Metro, you can Google me. You'll find Monga Peter, a leader of civil society. I raise those matters. So you have that responsibility. Now, I'm not an old person to give words of wisdom, but I'm being opportunistic. Thank you very much.
Masibulele kutata walapha ekhaya. Siyamazi thina uBramonga. And asizube sithetha kakhulu xa selethethile into esiza kuyitsho Bramonga. Siyabulela ba usamkela lapha ekhaya, wasinika ihistory lapha ekhaya, wasele usinika umphako si-EFF. And again, nawe uyasazi si-EFF. That is why President esitsho ukuthi sithe xa siva ingxaki yokubana kune bill yombane apha. uchairperson we-region ulidisha MMC wakwa electricity, uchairperson ulidisha infrastructure and engineering, unobhala ulidisha electricity and engineering, and besando passes the bill up. Makaphakama uchairperson nonobhala. Umfana lo bogogo, umfana lo mileyo pha igama lakhe kukhanya Ngqisha, ungusihlalo walapha eMandela Metro ku EFF, pha eBhungeni ukhokhela idepartment ekuthiwa i-infrastructure and engineering. Xa kukho umbhobho ogqabhukileyo wamanzi, umbhobho ogqabuleyo welindle, ujongene nazo zonke ezo zinto, akufuneka kubekho any problems ezidibene nokugqajukelwa yimibhobho. So ngusihlalo ukhanya Ngqisha, abese elandelwa intwazana leya uZanele wakwamali, ngunobhala wengingqi wombutho we-EFF, upha eBhungeni naye ulidisha lento okuthiwa i-electricity and energy. Nguye lo uzama ukuenda i-load shedding for i-city yethu, uzama usebenzela towards lonto. U-electrifyile president after sithe maku-occupy umhlaba, baye bahamba bo-formalize ezo informal settlement, ba-electrifya, bafaka amanzi, bafaka ne-toilet. Aso story esisikhukayo esi, we can take anyone, siyaziwa apha eMandela. Enkosi sihlalo nonobhala. Ndizama ke ukuthi le ngxaki yale bill si-resolviwe, uyayazi Bhutmonga bekusando scratchwa ngoku i-bills zenkampani ezinkulu apha. Nale yalapha sizawubuya sofaka ingxelo sithi kwenzekile. Le yasephondweni ke ikhokhelwa ndim nonobhala wam, sisandothunywa, singabathunywa. Nangoku sinike umphako, siza kuyilidisha sibuye sizonikezela ingxelo. Sizama ukuthi singumzi we-EFF lo mphako sinike wona, nanku umongameli, nasi top 6, nasi structure se-EFF, sizawuhamba simane sibuza uba imanxa indawoni lanto yapha Ekuphumuleni. Sithi sivile asizothetha kakhulu. Enkosi. Asizolibazisa ke thuba. TG sawunikezela kuwe uthule umongameli njengesithethi sembeko, ukuze singabambezeleli abantu abakhulu sebengxamile bafuna uva umongameli ethetha. Masinikele kuwe unongxowa we-EFF azothula umongameli. Nongxowa omkhulu.
Siyabulela kakhulu sihlalo wethu wase Eastern Cape. Without any further ado, we request to raise the Commander-in-Chief and the President of the EFF, President Julius Malema, the incoming President of South Africa come 2024. President abomkhulu nabogogo bakulindi.
Thank you very much. Siyabulela usihlalo no TG and all our leaders who are here from the province and national leadership that is here, and our regional leaders who were introduced earlier, especially our chairpersons who represent us in the metro of Nelson Mandela. And thank all our guests of honor who are here today. We are here very happy to be part of this historic celebration that is taking place here at Ekuphumuleni. Ndize no Madiba omde. Mara uMadiba akaphumi la, uphuma eSoweto, but uphuma Eastern Cape, akaphuma Eastern Cape. So uTG ucinga ukuthi wonke umuntu uthethe isiXhosa uphuma ephondweni Eastern Cape. Kanti no, this is a Xhosa speaking from eSoweto. And as ukuthi akhona amaXhosa eSoweto or ama-chance takers bathethe yonke into. And my sincere apologies to our elders. We were supposed to be here at 12 o'clock and we had some logistical problems because we're supposed to be again in Joburg at 6 o'clock. There's another event we are addressing tonight. So our really Mr. Monga Peter has actually spoken for all of us. Because the reason why we come here is because we want to hear. We don't want to behave like we know. I wouldn't have known that there is a discrimination in terms of funding until I come to sit here and I'm like, how is it done? Like, which legislation is used to justify such expenditure from the state where certain people are given a particular amount of money, yet the category is the same, old age allocation, you give this one's 18,000, you give this one's 2,000. What are you using? What law, what piece of legislation are you using? And it doesn't even need a toy or anything. It needs functional parliamentarians and members of legislature to write a question to MEC. We are allowed to write questions and they must answer honorably and honestly. And they cannot lie that, no, we're giving them all 2,000. Once they respond, we're giving this one's 18,000 and this one's 2,000, they already know that it is illegal. And therefore, both politically and legally, it is something that must be fought. There's nothing that stops the EFF to go to court and declare that unconstitutional and invalid. And once there is a court order to that effect, then people have to be paid. We can even make it more problematic because we cause more trouble than any other thing. And ask for back pay that you have not paid us properly since 1994. Before that, we were fine. But what law were you using throughout to justify what you have done? So I think we were given here a very clear and very simple mandate. Again, when Mr. Peter was speaking, I'm thinking, I know we've got an MMC. Well, now he says chairperson because we come from villages of Limpopo. So once you say something is a metro, we now assume those who serve in the executive are called MMCs. But I know that there is a recent MMC responsible for electricity, and there's a problem of an old age home that owes 2 million. So let's say, for instance, it was not a billing problem. Just from an indigent point of view, you call a council meeting and sponsor a motion that we need to cancel this debt of not one pensioner, of 60 pensioners and many alike who are being billed in an unjustifiable manner because they are indigents and therefore should be beneficial. So part of what you should have done when you were negotiating with the ANC to share power should have been, when we come in, we need to cancel this debt of 2 million in one old age home. How is it done? How is that possible? So there are certain things we call low-hanging fruits, that when you take over government, you start with the most simplest, obvious things. You say, this one is doable, this one is doable. and then you resolve it. And I think that the chairperson of the electricity, together with the chairperson of the region, should make it their weekly program this week of ensuring they pay attention to this and make sure it is attended to, and this thing is scrapped, because it is unacceptable that, you know, elderly people, once they are told you are owing so much, they will never be settled. They will never have peace, because they are so scared these people can come anytime and cut our electricity. So to say we are working on it is not enough, because now I'm a child of Ukogwa. We resolve. As long as it's not resolved, I will never hear the end of it. So you want to hear the end of it, just resolve it. So it goes back to zero. They are not refusing to pay, but they can't pay this amount of money which is not justifiable. And therefore, the EFF celebration of 10 years as a gift of the new chairperson of the electricity and the chair of infrastructure and engineering, as gift to the EFF, not the gogos. If you undermine these gogos of Nelson Mandela, at least respect the organization that has deployed you and say, when you came to celebrate with us, you honored us and brought a celebration to us. In return, a good gesture, we cancelled the debt of gogos, which was 2,000 at the municipality. Then you know you have given them peace. They will always be at peace, because they know no one will walk in here and switch off the electricity. We want you to look after those who can't do anything for you. I went to celebrate with other gogos there in Limpopo. One of them was turning 100. And that was Friday. And then after celebration, we left. And Monday, she passed away. And I had said to this, in a gathering like this, I said, be nice and be good to people who can't do anything. We did a party for her, we danced with her, we enjoyed, and all of her. She couldn't do anything for us. She passed away. So why do you only want to do for people who are going to be the next 10 years there voting for you? No, if you are genuine about it, just help people who can't do anything for you. Just seeing the smile on their faces and them appreciating, you know it's enough. Because the director was saying here, you know, we help everyone irrespective of creed and color and all of that. But, you know, black people have been hated for a very long time. And they are still hated even today, not only here, all over the world. Oprah Winfrey, she can't take a walk in her suburb, a morning walk in her suburb, without police stopping her. But what do you want here? Because it's an expensive suburb. And they don't expect a black person like this one is coming to steal the thing the director was speaking about, the one that we installed here. This one, there is a new thing here, he wants to steal it. What criteria do they use? It's a black person. So you see a black person, just give them love, because they are hated everywhere. In China, it's even worse. The children, if you are dark, they keep on trying to clean you because they think you are dirty. They associate blackness with dirtiness. I mean, you've dressed up nicely, you took a nice shower in your beautiful clothes, and someone comes to say, it doesn't look like you took shower. You look different. And then you come back home, we do the same thing to you. So we see black people, and you see everyone, in particular black people, just show them love. Reassure them and tell them as many times as you can that they are being loved and their dignity shall be restored. Because our coming here to fixing plumber, to fixing electricity, to fixing doors, to repaint the whole thing, is just to say to you, we recognize you as human beings. Because for a very long time, we have not been regarded as human beings. You know, in my language, when you give someone money or you give them a present or give them something, I don't know how to say it in Xhosa, but untirile motho. Yeah, because we're not human beings. But anything that seeks to restore us and recognizes us as human beings, we appreciate. Why would you say undienze umntu if you know umntu? You know that I'm regarded as nothing. I'm not umntu. Wandienza umntu. That's why even when they give us a dilapidated RDP house, which is going to crack immediately when they leave, we clap hands and celebrate because undienza umntu, because in my standards, I should be in a shack. Because and umntu mna. Nyamazan. Slwanyan. So we don't want that with our people. We want every time we interact with them, they must know they are human beings and we shall restore their dignity. And our program everywhere we go should be about restoring the dignity of our people. How do you do that? You start with those who cannot do anything for you because you are genuine. You go to disabled children. They don't vote. They even if they vote, some of them are so incapacitated to a point where they can't go and vote. But just be nice to them because they are human beings. You go to gogos, it's winter now. The mortality rate of gogos is too high. You can be told tomorrow that, you remember the gogo we met? Ekuphumuleni is no longer there. But still be nice to her. Because we must be nice to these dejected and rejected people of ours. And that's what the celebration of 10 years of the EFF seeks to do. So, size apa Ekuphumuleni because we want to create a relationship. It's not a once-off. We are not here to deliver gifts and off we go. No, we're going to leave our numbers, we don't carry two phones. I only carry one phone. If I don't want to talk to you, I will tell you, I don't want to talk to you. I don't have to hide from anyone. So we give you reliable numbers so that if there is a problem here in the old age home and you're not getting help, you call us. We will try and help where we can because we need to try and help institutions like this. Ubaba speaks correctly so. Health must be here. It's not only social development. So meaning Ekuphumuleni must be linked with a hospital. And that hospital must send people more frequently, weekly, to run the tests, to do this, to do that. And then from there, give the people the medication. I'm not saying something we have not done. We done it last week, Friday, we're in Kronstadt in Free State, where the director says, I've been asking for medication. Just one phone call. They were all now getting their medications and all of that. And then they were lining them up, coming to give them weekly medication. So this institution must be linked with the local hospital and more necessary capacity must be invited because everywhere where you bring people together, even in the EFF rally, that is one day, there has to be health facilities because there are people who have gathered in one place. So once you put 60 old age people together in a place like this, you are duty bound to make sure that you provide the necessary facilities. And health is such a primary facility. There are so many things that can be done, Commissar Vena, by EFF leaders who are activists, who do it out of love. Because if you say I'm a leader of society and I'm a leader of the EFF, and when you speak about it, you don't feel it inside your stomach, you are pretentious about it. It must keep you awake that there is a gogo who doesn't receive the social grant, yet this gogo qualifies to get a social grant. So an activist does that. It's a go in between until the gogo gets a social grant. You will never have to go and go and campaign, because that gogo is going to tell everybody who cares to listen. Bafika bafana ba EFF. She will tell them, yeah, she will tell them in Joburg, she will tell them in Cape Town how the EFF helped her. Just one help. Imagine 60 of them. You go and cancel a bill of 2 million of 60 of them. How many other children and their grandchildren are going to hear that beautiful story? Not from you, because they no longer listen to politicians, but from their own parents who say, we got help from the EFF. In Shangani, they say, Miteroya bola bola. Sometimes you don't have to talk yourself. Your work will speak for you. That's what the EFF should be known. You cannot say we want to take government and do things the same way those who are in government are doing them. You have to do things differently. How is doing things differently? Do it with a smile. Show that you are happy to be here. No one has forced you to come and tick boxes. If anything, you want to sleep here so that work can be done. There must be the ones who say, hey, no. Now, puman. Because you are so happy to lend a helping hand. And therefore, lending a helping hand must never be a punishment. You must never behave like someone is punishing you. You ought to come from the communities that call your names and say, no, we'll talk to Vena, because you don't want to do it. We'll call Vena. They know when we call Vena, this thing is going to happen. So if you want to be the leaders of society, let's fall in love with our people and do things that are good by them without expecting anything. My problem with the current government, they can't do anything that doesn't have a tender inside. So tender means I'm going to get some money out of it. If it doesn't have money in it, we don't do it. There are so many things that don't have money. Therefore, they cannot be done. Why should there be a sewer that is blocked and running? And then we've got an MMC who says, no, there must be filling in the form, they must report in the office. The MMC must go where the sewer is running and call those people. I'm not going to leave until you come to fix this thing. That's when you are an activist, not a position monger who wants to be introduced in funerals of children that the councillor has arrived. So what must we do now? You do it when there are no crowds and no one can see. Alone, you know. The good thing is the one that you do alone without anyone seeing. You must just do it alone. And you know it runs, now this thing is fixed. You're going to hear it from your mom who comes from the church, that some old men stood up in the church to speak about you in your absence. You were not there. So please, we came here to say to you, fighters on the ground and the leadership, just love our people. All they need is love. and commitment. There's no way you can't serve the people you love. If you love them, you will serve them. All they need is services, and they don't have to vote for the EFF. In helping them, don't go after helping people, shout at them, hey, you must vote EFF, next day's elections. Then it's not help, it's canvassing. You are not helping, you are canvassing. Just help and walk away. And they will say, as you are about to exit, please bring 2 forms tomorrow. Want to join on their own because they are happy with how you conducted yourself. Why would you stay in a place with a pile of debt, in a corner, in a street like this? There by the corner, there is a pile of debt. Everyone is passing it. What councillor, mayor, no one comes and clean that pile of debt. We went to Northam to clean a pile of debt bigger than the sheikhs. An old woman wants to come. That time after they killed AKA. So I had reinforced security around me. We're all scared like, what's happening now? People are being killed. When this old woman tries to approach me, the security says, no, you can't go, you can't go. But I stayed there for long. She kept on insisting. And then I said, man, allow this old woman to come. Then she comes through, she says, I just wanted to thank you. So I say, why? He says, this thing, we lived with it for 10 years. And we're not seeing anything wrong. It was part of us. We'd accepted. We'd accepted that, no, we live like this. It's us. It just needed a tipper truck and TLB to remove it. I didn't go with an engineer. I didn't go with anyone to do planning. I just looked at it and said, bring a tipper truck here, bring the TLB, remove this thing. Before you knew it, it was removed. People were breathing fresh air. But we never thought this will be removed because we got so used to it. There was nothing wrong with it. Where is the EFF branch? Where is the ANC councillor? Where is the DA mayor? On something that is not hidden, it's not a blocked sewer that is in a pipe underground. It's right on our cold faces. Yet we cannot do the right thing. All of us combined. When they say politicians, they mean all of us. They don't care. All of us combined, we pass it every day. There is a person who got a tender to do a road there, to come and do potholes, to come and do water. Why can't you just go to that businessman? We here, we know it's not your responsibility, but please, just remove this thing here. Just do us a favor. Because activism doesn't mean you must have money. You must have the mind, the energy, and the creativity, the ability to go and ask on behalf of the community without expecting anything in return. Whereas if you are a councillor, you get paid for doing that. Imagine a teacher goes to school and doesn't teach and says, I'm a teacher. You are a councillor. Every morning you wake up, chair of the region, is where am I going to help my people today? Because that's what the teacher does. When the teacher wakes up in the morning, before she slept, she prepared. Today I'm doing this syllabus and that syllabus and that syllabus. She goes to a classroom knowing these are the areas I'm going to canvass today. What have you planned as a councillor for your day? Or today, what am I going to do today? It's your daily job. And you can't take leave from it. And the solution to it, if it's overwhelming you, is to resign. It's as simple as that. We'll get someone who's willing to wake up every morning to go look for problems and solve those problems. Because a leader must solve problems. Especially when you are here on the ground with our people. So, please, let's make sure that this Eastern Cape becomes something better. You talk mud schools. I come from the poorest of the poorest province. which hasn't produced many legends like Eastern Cape. But look at where mud schools are found. I sometimes ask myself, what did the people of Eastern Cape do to deserve to be treated this way? Mud schools are found here. Pit toilets where children fall into the toilet, they are found here in the Eastern Cape. The roads that are not in good condition, very poor roads are found here. You can say whatever bad things you want to say about Zuma. Go and check the roads in KwaZulu-Natal. If there's anything the ANC has done well in Natal, was to build houses, the roads. There in Umhlanga, you will even think you are in New York. Zuma's legacy, we don't want to talk about it. But here in Eastern Cape, a person buys ambulances, scooter ambulance. I'm like, okay, that's fine, scooter ambulance, we are happy. Mara, this scooter is going to be driven on which roads? Because there are no roads in the Eastern Cape. That scooter is going to be stuck with the driver and the patient inside when it rains. So they should have tried it somewhere, the scooterization of ambulances, not here in Eastern Cape, because here we still have a big task of building our people proper roads. In the Eastern Cape, connect them to tap water, because they still drink water with animals. 30 years into democracy. This is where President Mandela comes from. This is where Governor Mbeki comes from. This is where President Mbeki comes from. Krisani, Winnie Mandela, O.R. Tambo. We should be honoring this province with service delivery for having given us heroes and heroines of our struggle who put us where we are today. All of them, if you go and check their history, they all have a passage with P.E. Nelson Mandela, all of them. So, you should be swimming in a pool of service delivery. Eastern Cape was supposed to be an example of what we mean by service delivery, not what we mean by stealing qualifications by politicians, but chonchama qualification. It doesn't matter whether Skotlakele, we can be a Marcella and all of. Education is one thing we must never tamper with, because if we do that, all over the world we are rejects. Even if you got your master's in a correct manner, for as long as you are from Eastern Cape, West Fort here, education, the integrity of education and the intellectual capacity of any society is judged by the type of education they give to their people. Its integrity and its legitimacy. You can't give each other qualifications like you are giving each other fat cakes. Amagwinya. Pata vuyane. So you'll get 5. You're giving each other masters like you are giving each other ihaku. I know, we can't allow that. We need to protect our education and protect this Eastern Cape. It must never be a playground for Amasela. And that's what the old people and the people of Eastern Cape must unite as one voice. That Amasela must never have a playground in the province of Nelson Mandela and many other leaders who came from here. We hold this province of ours in high regard. Umzilo tata mathetha apha bengithi awuzonikeza umzekelo once angathi ngifuna unikeza umzekelo Vuyani, you must know we're going to stay here until the following day, because once they start saying ngifuna unikeza umzekelo, they've not entered the real issues. They are still giving you examples. But we are very happy, and we wish to once more emphasize, please don't hesitate, Director. Use that contact with the EFF. We'll take from our coffers. We'll also use our ability to engage the state to make sure things happen. Because we don't just want to 10 years. We want out of 10 years to have 10 non-governmental, non-profit organizations that EFF has adopted and can proudly say, without theory, without making noise, we are directly, practically involved in helping those institutions to function. So we're starting today by leaving 100,000 rands here with the institution to make sure that wherever there are issues, please try. We want to thank our staff members. That's why when we bring gifts, we also bring for our staff members. Because this is some others will call a thankless job. I mean, you do it out of love. You could be somewhere sending, you came to look after Abu Gogo and make sure you take care of them, you bath them and make sure they live in good condition. In many times, people forget that the staff members do that thankless job. And we really appreciate you. You left your own gogos, your own parents to come and help the people that you are not related to them by blood. But you saw a need to come and say, let's put a helping hand. Please, there will be many talks out there about this old age home. You know where we're involved. People say many things. Hey, this one ate money. This one is taking this for them. We're not going to bring that negativity into this space. Here, we protect each other. If there are issues, we raise them inside here. We resolve them here and make sure we serve Abu Gogo with a smile. Because they can see when you are not happy. You know them. They've got a serious experience of life. That's why even a pregnant girl, they don't need a pregnancy test. They just look at you and say, when? Then you know, right, there's something wrong with this one. So when you're not happy, when there are issues, you bring them in here, they will see. And then you create an unfriendly environment for Abu Gogo. So they've been through a lot. They need peace here. This is not a place for toy-toying. It's not a place for fights. It's not a place to get to each other. It is not a place to speak negatively about each other. Once we enter here, we enter a mini heaven where all of us must serve with smile and peace. We will do that. You will see our grandfathers and grandmothers living longer because they are served with love and they are served with happy hearts. And that's what we're asking for. Please let this place be a place of peace. Chair of the province, you're from here, and all comrades, please, when you have time, don't pass outside. Come in and ask, where can I help? So that this place becomes a beautiful place. They don't need too much of your time. That day when you are there, if there is some paint at home, there is something at home, don't throw anything away. And don't bring things that are not in good condition. Bring things that you no longer need, but they are still in good condition. See how best can we go and help this old age home. It's a beautiful place. We must make sure we maintain it. They took it from other generation. They must hand it over to other generation intact. We want when we come here after many years, now we chair, uzela, uzophumula, we gogo, we mkhulu, uzela uzophumula, and then tell a story that you came close to this contact during the 10th anniversary of the EFF. So here We are in a legacy project. And legacy projects means they live forever. So we want Ekuphumuleni iphile unaphakade. Thank you very much.
Make siphinde sishaye izandla for umongameli. Asizoba bade, siyabulela kakhulu umongameli ngenkulumo ithulileyo apha ekhaya. Asizoba bade amade ngawetyala. Asifuni nowagxobha. Ngoku into ezakwenzeka ndithema ndikubambe emkhuluwa. Sizawubiza umongameli wethu kunye nonongxobo omkhulu no director wethu uTamonga ukuze baze ngaphambili sizawusika ikhekhe. Sizawusika ikeki. La. Asizubabade ke ngoku sawunikela kumuntu omkhulu tata uchongwele ekhaya ubawo umama uMaphela uzawuza ngaphambili azobulela ukuze sikwazi ke ngoku siqala imibhiyozo. Sicela umama uMaphela simzise ngaphambili azobulela.
Mandime up. Umnake ngudiliya Winifred Maphela. Dina 96 minyaka. Ndizawucula iculo. Unabantu bakho Thixo ngamaxesha onke obagcina obanceda abo bantu bakho bakhangela namhlanje ndinovuyo ukuba kuthethwa ngo-President Malam. Ndivuya kakhulu ngalomhla wesihlanu apha kule nyanga ukuthiwa yekhala, inyanga kaJulayi ngo-2023. Mna ndazalwa ngo-1926 ngo-22 October 1926. Ngoku ndigqibe i-96. Ngo-October lo nyaka ndizawugqiba i-97. Ndibulela uThixo ngokundigcina kwakhe. Ekhayeni lam thina singabantwana abathandathu. Umna ndingowesibini ekhaya. Siba 6 sisonke. Ndingowesibini. Khona owokuqala wasweleka, khona owokugqibela wasweleka. Abanye umnye ke ngoku wesithathu. Sibathatha abaseleyo. Ubrother wam una-91 ngoka-1931. Usister wam ozemva kwakhe ngoka-1934 una-89. Uyigqibe ngoku ngoJuni. Sindibulela uThixo. Utata wam ngumvangeli phantsi komfundisi uTshume eRhini ngo-1942. Waqala ngoko wasweleka ngo-1950 utata wam. Nomama wam intombi yakwaMajola. Abathembu oqhudeni omvelaso abangadla amathuba yazi baya indlala iwile. Ngasingaba sikanojoli Somerset sazalela khona nabazali bam bazalela khona. Batshata khona ngo-1922 umtshato kamama.